All right, guys, welcome to the Ravit Show. We are here to celebrate 1 year celebration of the Ravit Show. The journey has been extraordinary. We had over 40 guests, and those are from 40 different companies. The goal for the coming year is to mix up with the more of panel discussions and amazing experts who are making some strides in the data science and AI community. Also, I will be open to recommendations, so feel free to do that for the Ravit Show. A small piece of good news to share is that I have officially registered the Ravit Show as a company a month back. I did share it on LinkedIn, and that's great news for me. A small achievement, a great milestone, definitely. Okay, that's my opening speech, and let's talk a little about today. Today's panel discussion will be around personal branding, networking, future of data science and AI, and much more. So feel free to drop in your questions and let us know where you're joining from. Also, before bringing in our guests, I would definitely love to thank our partners 365 Data Science and who have always been so supportive to the Ravit Show. And that reminds me that we are giving away 2 annual subscriptions of 365 Data Science today. The thing that you need to do is just mention hashtag 365 Data Science in the comments, and we will do the raffle in middle of the show and definitely by end. So feel free to do so and let us know where you're joining from. Thank you everyone who are joining in. Also, without any further ado, let's have our guest for today's panel discussion. I am super happy to invite them today. Our first guest is, let's bring her on, Kate Strachnyi. Kate, the founder of Dedicated and very well known for being very dedicated to data. Hi, Kate. Thanks for coming on the Ravit Show.
Hello, hello. Thank you so much for having me. Congratulations on first your 1 year anniversary and second on becoming an official company. I know that's huge. So huge congratulations. I love your show. I try to watch every single one.
Thank you very much, Kate. You've been an inspiration out there and you've helped me through. So thanks for that. And definitely I'll ask for the introduction, but let's have everyone up here and let the get ball rolling. Okay, our second guest is none other than Ben Taylor. He's well known for his
stupidity.
AI.
Just kidding.
He talks a lot around AI, and we love it. So Ben, definitely that's there, and you're also very well known for your skiing skills. So at least I'm a fan of it. Those videos are beautiful. Keep them coming, and we'll definitely talk a little around how you, actually create those videos. What's the secret behind it? And people do ask you about how you do the photography, which you never reveal. I don't know why, but yeah, definitely we are talking about that too. Okay, without any further ado, again, our third guest for today is the host and YouTuber of Lights on Data, George Firican. Welcome to the Ravit Show, George.
Hi, everybody, and congratulations. Happy first year.
Thank you very much, George. Okay, let's have our fourth guest, and it is none other than Danny Ma, founder of Data with Danny. He's well known for sharing some amazing memes on LinkedIn. It's and also some serious SQL courses. So we are looking forward to that, and pleasure to have you, Danny.
Thank you so much, Ravit, and congratulations.
Thank you very much. Okay, moving on. Our surprise guest, it is none other than Thom Ives. Hey, Thom, welcome to the Ravit Show. Thom is very well known for his integrated meetings and MLAI community, and also he's writing a book. We'll talk about that too. So, very welcome, everyone. Thank you. It's a pleasure to celebrate 1 year anniversary with you all here. I am sure the audience is equally excited. And let's just jump into the topic for today. We are discussing about brand building, networking, the future of data science, and much more. So feel free to post your questions that you might have for our guest today. To obviously start with, why not have introductions? Maybe Kate?
Yes, sure. Hello, everybody. I'm Kate Strachnyi, the founder of Dedicated, which includes the Dedicated live show, the Dedicated podcast, the conferences, the academy, and a couple of other things. I'm working on a new book called Color-Wise for Color for Data Storytelling. I have two daughters, age 5 and 7, and I love running.
Amazing. I'll go by screen. Ben, you're on mute, by the way.
Oh, can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Ben Taylor, 3 young kids, 2 boys and a girl. Girl just turned 12 Friday. And
Wow.
I love all things data science and AI. This is it's a discipline where I will never be bored. I will, all the way up until I die, I'm sure I will be scratching my head about something very, very strange related to AI.
We love it, Ben. Thom? You're muted.
Hey, I didn't expect to go next. You caught me off guard. Hi, everyone. Thom Ives, husband of 1 wife, father of 9 legal kids, father of hundreds of other kids around the world, which is a great honor.
Amazing. Danny?
Working on a book. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
No, please. Continue.
Oh, working on a book with my best friend in the world, Guy Sincari, who works at Bayer in Germany, and yeah, a lot of good things going on. Thanks. Let's hear from Danny.
Amazing. Danny, you on mute.
Whoops. Okay.
No worries.
Hello, everyone. My name is Danny. I'm from Sydney, Australia, and it's currently 2 a.m. over here. So my goal for this panel is to not fall asleep. What do I do? I've been a data scientist or working in data for the past 10 years or so. I'm with Ben, so I think that we'll forever be inspired by all the weird things that are happening within the data science space, and we will never get bored with what we're doing.
Amazing. George, what about you?
Well, I'm the founder of Lights on Data, which includes online courses and the YouTube channel. You know, we have a bunch of articles and awesome templates for people to just get a better understanding on data management, data governance in general. So I'm the guy that tries to convince companies and individuals that data needs to be treated as an asset and it's important. Also love surfing, though I'm horrible at it. And I love my lattes. And my goal is to drink a latte while I'm surfing. So that's probably years in the making.
Wow. And definitely you are actually having that voice where you are talking so much around data governance and you're educating us. So thanks for that introduction, everyone. Moving on, definitely I have a question which is around personal branding, and I would love to know from you guys, what do you think about why personal branding is important in data science and AI world? We've been hearing a lot around it, but what do you think? Anyone can start, maybe Danny.
Okay, good to go first before I fall asleep. So I think personal branding is super important. People often say that a lot. Like they say personal branding is so valuable. You have to make sure that you guard it or anything like that. But I think it's really understated just how important it is for, especially if you're wanting to find a new role, or if you're trying to start a business, have a successful startup, find people that might want to work with you, different things like that. Having good personal branding and being able to communicate a little bit more about your personality and what you're all about is very important. And personal branding is, for me, it's about communicating that aspect of what you're all about to everyone else on social media, on all the different places that you could be professionally, as well as in your social life as well. Not social life, but your personal life too. But yeah, that's my answer.
Interesting thing. Ben?
I love this question because when I started my career, excuse me, I worked at Intel and Micron, and the mindset was all the smart people work here, so why would you want to know anyone else? Which I think is so funny because I had like 400 connections on LinkedIn, and now I've got 47,000 connections on LinkedIn. But the biggest the biggest blessing in my career has been all the smart people I get to meet, people like you, people that are watching this stream. And so I think early in my career, I didn't realize how important your network is. So start early and invest in your network. It'll grow over time, and it'll be one of the most wonderful things that you will cherish later in life. But I didn't know that early in my career. My network was flat for many years.
Amazing. And talking of obviously branding, I know Kate is like the master out there, and she does the right branding. So, Kate, what do you think?
Oh, thank you so much, Ravit. Yeah, I definitely agree with what's been said so far. Ben said start early. I think that's the only thing I did right in life is start networking early. Because I remember thinking to myself, if I knew one doctor, one lawyer, one person who's like good at plumbing, my life is going to be easy because I could just say, hey, friend, you can just help me out here. And I think with that mentality, also building up something that you're good at as well, that you can bring to the table. You can even have your own little community. But I digress. In terms of data branding, I think it's important because first of all, it can help you stand out among in the crowd. There are a lot of people who are after this data science job, this data analytics job, and it helps you compete a little bit. But on the flip side, it also acts as sort of a magnet, right? Because once you start putting things out there, like I always talk about data and I always talk about running, and I sometimes will talk about my kids, but I try not to do that too much. But the point is, recently I had a company approach me for a potential partnership, which was TCS that wanted to partner on the New York City Marathon, which sort of is like a dream come true for me because now I've partnered with them to run a marathon and talk about data. And without my personal branding of consistently showing up and talking about these topics, that wouldn't have happened. So acting as a magnet for all the cool opportunities around you is definitely amplified when you have a strong personal brand.
Amazing points there, Kate. Thanks for that, and congratulations on the TCS and you running for them.
Thank you.
So, which is great. George, what do you think about branding?
I feel that it's a process in discovering your branding, and part of this process, it feels like you're discovering yourself as well, and you're growing as an individual, kind of maybe clarifying some of the things that you love, what are your passions, and putting it out there, and also helping other people that might have a similar passion, and you're kind of finding your own tribe. Yeah, right. You're just sharing ideas with like-minded people, and yeah, it's just benefiting everybody. It's a give and take relationship.
Definitely, 100% agree, George. Thom, what do you think?
So I started out like Ben's statement, and I'm still figuring this out. It was kind of thrust upon me, but I'm going to continue with what caused it, which is just sharing because I care. I think I was inspired when I realized others were helped by what I had to share with them. And so I kept thinking, wow, this is going to take a lot of time, but I kept thinking, do what's possible and keep trying to do more. And before long, you're doing the impossible. So I'm still figuring it out, quite honestly. But the reason I am motivated to build a personal brand now is just so I can help more people in our community.
Those are amazing points, Thom. Also, we have a special guest, as I definitely shared on LinkedIn as well, that we will be having some special guests joining in. So let's have Christina here. Hey, Christina, welcome to the Ravit Show anniversary special. So we were just talking about branding, and to start with, obviously, you can feel free to, I know you have very limited time, you are jumping in between meetings. So feel free to introduce yourself and let us know a little about personal branding if you can.
Yeah, literally just jumping in for 5 minutes, then I have to hop to another meeting, but I'm happy to be here. So just for our listeners, my name is Christina Stethopoulos. I am a data voice. I talk about all things data and tech, and I'm the host of the Book a Week Challenge. And then what were you asking about, Ravit? About personal branding?
Personal branding, yeah.
Personal branding. I would just say that, first of all, LinkedIn. I mean, obviously, the best place to be is LinkedIn. I think it's very underrated, and people don't realize how many doors it can open for you. And just to put yourself out there, like, don't overthink it. Put your voice out there. At the beginning, you might not get as many reactions as you'd like, but it takes time. You need to post quality content, be consistent about it, and just be active with the whole community.
Those are amazing points. Christina, thanks for getting in quick here. I know it's a tight situation for you, but it was definitely a pleasure having you. If you can stay back, definitely we can ask another question and we can have you first.
No, I'll stay around for a few more minutes. So feel free to go around, and I'll stay around as long as I can.
Okay, amazing. So these are great thoughts on personal branding. Moving forward, what would be your suggestion if someone wants to actually start into data science and AI career? Since there is a lot of noise around, what can be a great learning path for them? Anyone? Christina, maybe you can give it a start.
I'm going to start again. So a good learning path. Trying to think. Maybe start with someone else and come back to me.
Yeah, definitely. Ben.
I think a good learning path, you always want it to be, you want passion to pull someone into the curriculum, because if you start reading through a book, it can be kind of soul crushing. I think of like people being forced into math and they're like, oh, I hate math. Data science can be so fun. You just have to align the passions with the right projects. And I think for a lot of people on the call, they've already done that. Like there are some things in the discipline that are so motivating for them that really pull them into the space. So
that's a really good point. I would say there's so many different things out there. You need to really narrow down your focus. Don't try to tackle everything at once. So I think the beginning, having an understanding of all the different options out there, and then finding which ones pull you the most, which ones you're passionate about, and dive into those. But I think it is a good idea at first to like try everything on the buffet, have a little bit of an idea, and then figure out where you're going to focus.
Sounds good. Danny, what do you think? There are a lot of folks who are actually saying DWD.work. So data with Danny, I was just figuring out what's DWD.work, and there are many of them who have been saying so. So Danny, you're all over the place.
Yeah, so that's actually, they are students part of the Data with Danny community, and there's like a little bit of an in-joke. There's on our Discord community, you can earn Marcoin, and Marcoin can buy you mentoring sessions, and like you can, yeah, it's a lot of fun. But I'm not going to digress too much. But I think when you're starting off in data science, one of the most important things is to learn from people who are better than you. Try and get that realistic feedback from anyone that you can get the feedback from. So if you're starting off and you don't have access to a formal mentor or any colleagues that are working in data science, this is where networking on LinkedIn can really help out. Joining student communities can really help also. But to really get that taste of reality of, okay, here's where I am now, and here's where I need to get to, and here are some steps that I can take to improve. I think that journey is going to be very important. And those learnings that you'll get from your more experienced senior people will really give you the push forward in the right direction that you need.
Amazing points, Danny. And someone did mention about Marcoin, and that gets a greater value than Bitcoin. So definitely joining the Marcoin, the series. Kate, what do you think?
Well, first of all, I think the mock coins are awesome. Obviously, that's so cool. I actually thought you were being spammed, Ravit. I'm like, who are these people? What are they typing? You know, watching the comments, but I'm glad you figured that out. That's awesome, Danny. Look at you. You're dialing in at 2 o'clock in the morning. You have all the support here. I love it.
Exactly.
I want to echo what everybody else said. I do agree that first, familiarizing yourself with the broad spectrum of what's out there at a high level, and then sort of picking out some of the areas, if not the one focus area that excites you the most, which for me early on, I knew that I wasn't as excited about programming and learning algorithms. I loved living in the data visualization, the data storytelling side of the business. So I sort of took a deep dive there. But if you're not quite sure, pick an area that interests you and then have an interview with 3 different people, just a casual conversation with 3 people who are currently doing that job, and get an understanding of what do they do every day. First, they'll tell you some of the skills that you need to acquire. And second, you'll learn early on if this is something you even want to do, because, the data science field is very lucrative. I think people get into this field for different reasons. And I think it's important to understand if this is actually the work that you're going to enjoy doing. And these conversations can really help you get there.
Very interesting points, Kate. Thank you for those. Thom, what do you think about someone who wants to? I know you do a lot of mentoring sessions. Every Saturday, there are 2 hours of mentoring session from integrated meeting from MLA. So, would love to know more about it.
Yeah, it's been really exciting to see when people approach me and say, "What do you charge?" So it's very expensive. You have to pay it forward, and they're already doing it. But we have a real emphasis in our family on mastering concepts, because once you really understand a concept, it's hard to forget it, and then the math makes sense. And I want to encourage everyone out there that's struggling with the math and the tech of it all. It really comes down to the concepts, and you can learn more and relate more if you understand how the concepts relate to one another. Memorizing math equations, that's a hard uphill journey, but being able to see the concepts in the equations, that stays with you for life. And then the other big thing we emphasize is if you master the basics first, everything else will make more sense as you build on top of it. But if you're rushing off to deep learning and you haven't mastered linear regression and all the fascinating techniques you can do around that, you're going to get frustrated pretty quickly.
Yeah. I was going to just say real quick, I think this is why it's so key for passion, because if you don't have the passion, like, oh my gosh, there's so much stuff to learn, there is, and you're going to hate it. But if you have the passion, you're like, what are you talking about? This is a party. Like, if it just feels like a party, then you're not going to be stressing about, oh my gosh, there's so much stuff to learn.
Definitely. George, what do you think?
And I'm not the data scientist in the room here. I just hire smarter people than me that can do the work. But like all of you said, I think it's important to have that passion. I think it's important to have that informational interview, at least one with somebody to kind of see what their day-to-day is looking like, and try different roles and try and engage with different people in different data science domains, because like Ben said, there are really different roles that you can have. I was chatting with this one lady. She's like this great artist that has a passion for data visualization, and she wanted to be a data scientist, but she thought she didn't really have the mathematical aptitude for it. But there are also roles that can just focus on that data visualization, data storytelling, and just putting it in a story, whatever the data scientist could create or a data analyst could create. So there are different options for different people.
Those are interesting points, George. Thanks for that. We have a question that Matthew has asked about personal branding. So, okay, there are 2 questions. One's like the follow-up question. So let's take it. What is the number 1 rule about brand building? So let's make it very quick. Kate, what do you think? What's your rule? Number 1.
Be authentic. Be yourself. It is the easiest thing you can do. I'll keep it short, as you asked. Be authentic.
Yeah.
Be yourself.
Ben, what do you think?
I agree. And Kate's been a good example of that for me. Be authentic.
Okay, sounds good. Thom, what do you think?
I would only add to that is share because you care.
Share because you care. Danny?
I would say the number 1 rule is your personal brand is what other people talk about you when you're not in the room. So make sure that you have that in mind. That would be my rule.
Good books. Yeah.
Also be authentic as well.
Yes. George, what do you think?
I agree with all of that. Obviously, I don't know if any of you remember that perfume called Be You, like Be Yourself. Mm-hmm. Anyways, this reminded me of that. Unrelated. But I would also add be consistent.
Be consistent. Christina? Yeah,
George just took it out of my mouth. So I was going to say, obviously be authentic, and then mine was going to be consistent, that it doesn't happen overnight.
Yes, sounds good. These are great tips to be, the number 1 rule to keep the brand going and build your own brand. Okay, moving on. A lot of talking around brand building, definitely. But let's shift a bit towards when we talk about brand, definitely networking comes in And what do you guys think? In terms of networking in data science field, what plays a very important role, and how can you actually upskill by just networking? So, anyone? Tom, maybe you first.
Oh, this is a good one for me. I really felt the need to learn transformers a while back, and so I just reached out on LinkedIn. Hey, I'm changing from sharing my learning journey on reinforced learning with you to transformers. And then I just said, hey, let's form a chat group, a learning guild on LinkedIn. Well, we all learned. It was like Ben was getting at. We had a passion to learn it, and we were learning more together, and it was great. And then Dennis Rothman joined our group, and he had to be hush hush about his book. And then his book came out, and we all exploded even more. But I would say we all learned a lot faster because we joined forces.
Sounds like a plan. Okay, before I definitely ask Kate about networking, I have another surprise guest here, and let's welcome him. It's none other than Scott Taylor, the
everybody.
Data Whisperer. He's
Hey, how you
busy
doing,
jumping.
everybody? Well, let me get my camera right here. How are you? Good to see everybody. Ravit, congratulations. 1 year. They grow up so fast, don't they? The kids.
Yes.
How wonderful to see all of your wonderful smiling faces. I'm in the middle of my
MDM.
master data marathon. I have 13 minutes till the next session. I have a little timer. I already watched everything, so I just kind of do other stuff while the sessions are going on, but didn't want to miss the big celebration and a chance to interrupt you all. That's what I do so well. It's just kind of butt right in. No problem. How's everybody doing?
I have to come on and say that my big brother, Scott Taylor, is the king of pithy data statements. Way to go, Scott.
Thank you. Yes, I can't find my pith helmet here. So, but all my other cameras are in use. That's why I'm walking around with this portable thing. We got the whole place set up. We got props. We got coffee. We got data hats. We got the whole thing. People from like 30 countries are calling in, but I don't mind two-timing it a little bit.
Very cool, Scott. Thanks for joining in. And I know you are very tight on your time as well, but it's a pleasure to have you here. We were just talking about, how networking is important in data science and how will it help us to learn and grow and upskill. So Thom had some amazing points, and I was just jumping on to Kate. So Kate, what do you think?
Well, you can see the power of networking right here on the screen, I think. And this is the true result of, I think, effective networking, really building relationships and friendships along the way versus what you might read about in some business management book where it tells you networking is all about exchanging business cards, writing some sort of weird follow-up at the end, and then asking them for something in return. No, I think this is networking. Like I said, just being your authentic self and building real friendships and relationships. I think it's very important, and it makes you happy too. Somebody just wrote "Happy Birthday, Ravit," so the word "happy" came to my mind. But anyways, Scott, good to see you here. Can't believe you made time during your marathon.
What's a business card, Kate? I just had one question for you.
I don't have any for my new company actually, so I don't know.
We just have QR codes.
Just QR codes, yeah. It's the whole digital transformation for all of us. It's kind of an antiquated legacy way to share data, don't you think? Maybe that's gone away with one of the new transformational things out of COVID. We'll stop doing business cards. I don't know how the business card industry feels about that, but used to be like networking. I absolutely agree with Kate. I think it's gone through an evolution where networking was what she was talking about. Kind of in the day, how many cards did you get? Did you get a follow-up? And I like your point about, did you ask for something?
The Rolodex.
Now it's, now it's, I think it's a little more organic and a little more authentic, as you suggest. And I agree. I wouldn't have known any of you if we haven't all networked on this platform, that's for sure.
Bye, guys.
George, I know you have
Happy
to
birthday.
drop.
Bye, George.
Bye.
Bye, George.
Thank you.
We'll see you in a couple weeks, right? Yeah.
Yep.
Excellent.
I love how the business card people used to flex on the quality. I was in Sydney and someone hands me a metal business card and you're just like, whoa, like how much did this cost?
Yeah, I saw one of those once. I was pretty cheeky back to them. They handed me these three metal business cards. There were 3 people, and they all had these metal business cards. And I said, "Well, your margins are showing. Really, it's just who needs all this? Get caught in the detector and security."
Yeah, as long as it doesn't look like you made it at home, right?
George kind of brought his pet elephant in the room. I think there's a big opportunity for us to create QR name tags. It's just a QR code, and someone can come up and scan your code. Oh, there's your website. That's an awesome thought. Just carry around your QR code right there.
Yeah, I've got one on the back of my old business card. Goes right to my LinkedIn profile. How do you like that? Everybody on LinkedIn knows you can create a QR code for your profile. I know all of us know, but hopefully everybody listening knows it's right there. You just pop it, you can see it on your phone. You can print it, you can put it on something in a presentation. I do that a lot when we're doing these online presentations, put the QR code in there and say, okay, follow us. Yeah. So it's right there.
Danny, what do you think?
Oh, I didn't realize I was on mute before, so maybe it was a good thing. I actually have a funny story about business cards as well. So when I first started my company back in like 2018 or so, I thought getting a business card was going to be like my key to success. So I like went hard out, and I had a friend who was a designer help me like try and make a design, and then I had like went through multiple iterations, and we had a QR code as well, and like I never gave that business card to anyone. Like, I think in the end, I have like a box of them just sitting around. I use them as like spare coasters. Like I just like put 3 in a row and I just put someone's like drink on it whenever they come into the house. So at least they serve a purpose.
Well, when I started off, pre-2K, that's me in terms of aging. That was like you had to show it to your manager if you're working a convention or something. It was like, all right, here are the business cards I got. If you talk to a person, that was the proof that you had that conversation. And, so you had this tangible, again, we've grown past that, but at a point it was really this symbol of a connection in a tangible way.
Which is so funny because it's not, we're talking about like authentic connection. So like if we swap business cards, it's not really a connection yet. But like if we go out to dinner, coffee, et cetera, now we have if I get your cell phone number, that's different. If we're texting each other, that's very, very different. So
yeah.
Now it's like if you give me your Instagram handle, then we're close.
Yeah. That's what you should say. Like, these are all the people I have on Signal now. And you're like, oh wow. Like good job.
I'll follow you if you follow me.
Okay.
Christina, what do you think?
I have a one recommendation when it comes to networking away from business cards, and that is, if you haven't tried it before, when all of these conferences come back to being in person, go to the conferences alone. Don't go with your workmates, don't go with your friends, because if you do that, you're going to end up just hanging out with them the whole time. Go there completely alone, and it's going to force you to meet other people and to mingle. And I have done this before, and if you're scared of it, I did it in Spain. So I did it in my second language, trying to communicate with people in Spanish. So I had that other level of being uncomfortable, but I would recommend everybody to try that.
Good tip. I ran a sales team, so we, all the tips I gave them were like, all right, stand by the food. Whenever there's a cocktail party, stay by the shrimp. 2 reasons. 1, people are going to go to the shrimp, and 2, you're going to get a lot of shrimp. So it's excellent tip for both ways. Work the lines backwards. We used to work the taxi lines backwards. We used to walk the opposite direction. These were kinds of the tactical tips we used on things. So everybody's walking one way, we walk the other way and just bump into people, escalators, elevators. Don't sit with your buddies at a table during lunch. Don't go to the empty table, go to the full switch. I used to hop table. Okay, I'm done with the entree. Now I go to another table for dessert. In a lot of cases at those conferences, it was all about volume.
That's
not
amazing.
suggesting they were all authentic connections, but still, we had to make it work.
Okay, before Christina moves, I know you've got to go, but there's an interesting question. Since all of you belong to the data science field here, I have a very interesting question. So, what has been your best data storytelling moment till date? Christina, has there been any moment which was very interesting to you in terms of the data storytelling?
For data storytelling, I would just say one of the moments that stands out to me most was one of my first like speeches or classes. So when I first got into this, but being in front of a crowd, one of my first ones was actually teaching. I was teaching at the university where now I have an adjunct professor position, but they were giving me a test round and they gave me a class and they wanted to see how I did with it, and just being in front of a crowd for the first time. And I was tasked with teaching MBA students about big data and analytics, like giving them a good overview. So I had to translate some technical topics into more like MBA language. And that, I think that's the first thing that comes to my mind. And just remembering how it was the first time, how nervous I was in front of a crowd of people, but getting through that first bump in the road and getting past the nerves.
Wow, that's amazing. Ben, I know there are many stories that you might have, but which was the one that stands out for you?
I not, it's hard to describe just being on stage, like a real stage, like you're being on stage, it's a formal event, walking out and you have a large crowd and you control the main room. Like that's always going to be very exciting. And it doesn't matter if you're the opening keynote, just that will always be a lot of fun if you make it fun. If you're engaging, and I'm sure we've given talks where we really own the crowd and it was really fun for everyone. We've given other talks that have kind of failed. I think for me, maybe one of the most proud moments I had is I had an invite to go present to SpaceX. So I thought that was awesome, just kind of going there, which is funny because they were very concerned that you can't sell your product or your services, which is normal for like academic. If you go present to an academic conference, they're going to be very concerned about that as well. You can't sell your products or services. So yeah, I think if I had to pick one, I'd probably pick that one. But just being on stage I miss it. I miss dancing on stage, holding a coffee. I'm sure you guys all do too.
Definitely. That's a great one.
I need to butt in just because I have to disconnect. I wanted to say happy 1 year to the Ravit Show and great to see all of you.
Thank you very much, Christina.
Great to see you as well.
Bye-bye.
Thank you. Awesome. Danny, which was your moment?
So this is for data storytelling, right? So
yeah.
I'm trying to come up with a really good one. So one time, one of my general managers, we were having a reverse mentoring session. So I would mentor her on machine learning, and I tried to draw up some very silly use cases and tried to keep things really, really simple so I don't lose her. I think I ended up telling her a story about some crazy robot that would try and identify cats between dogs and tried to simplify machine learning that way. That was pretty interesting. I don't know if it's exactly data storytelling, but I think having worked on multiple projects where I worked with designers, so visual designers, so it wasn't just people making dashboards and different things like that, but they would actually come up with a concept, come up with what's the message, how do we communicate it, and what do all these shapes and things mean in the data. So that was really interesting. And I think having that sort of mindset when you're going for any sort of storytelling approach using data, that has really helped me in all my future projects from that point in time. So yeah, just kind of thinking through how you would tell the story was really interesting. Having that sort of sliding door moment where you realize, okay, I can actually tell a real story using data, which is normally people would just be confused by. So yeah, it was a good experience.
Interesting. Yeah, very interesting one, Danny. Thom, what do you say?
If it's okay to expand this a little bit, because most of the people that come to me for mentoring are trying to understand data science better. And by the way, Kate, I want you to know, I tell them, you want to become a better data scientist, become a better data storyteller. I even send people your way so they can improve their machine learning skills. But those moments where I found an explanation that gives people an aha moment. And that can be fellow data scientists that are students or learning something new, or it can be a non-data scientist who I found that great explanation for, to where they go, oh, I get it now. I love those moments so much. Now, a second to that is Greg Kikuyo and I are really close friends, and we developed a presentation together. And when we give that presentation, I feel like we're really helping, almost at a Scott Taylor level and George Firican level, to push the collaboration between organizational leaders and data scientists forward so that we can get greater returns on data out in the wild.
I think yes. That. Go ahead. Okay.
Oh, I just wanted to quickly add to that. First of all, thank you, Thom, for any referrals that you've made in terms of data storytelling. I think in terms of examples, I wouldn't have one example that stands out like, oh, this is the best data storyteller, or this is the best data story I've ever heard. But I think it always comes down to connecting with people and having that passion come through from the data storyteller, and then using data to really solidify some of the facts. I'm a big fan personally of visuals that can help you tell a story. So, charts and graphs that can actually highlight some of the insights that you want to get your audience to come away with. But I think more than anything else is having that connection with your audience is what's going to make your data story really stand out.
Very interesting. Definitely, Kate. And thanks for those inputs. Okay, it is time for us to announce our first winner for the raffles. Can we just quickly do this and do the raffle? So for those who are just joining us or joined us late, you can actually put a hashtag 365 data science, and we will be pulling up a draw and giving away one annual subscription. So the winner is Sushant. Congratulations. You win one annual subscription to 365 Data Science. Okay, moving on. Here's a very interesting question that I had for everyone. I'm sure we will get some good insights here. So, obviously, starting from anyone, when did you actually start your data science journey, and how has it evolved since then? Maybe Ben. I would love to hear your thoughts first.
It started when I was a baby. Actually, in high school, I was very into snowboarding. I don't know if people knew this. When I was 16, I had a board sponsor. So I was like very into snowboarding. My dad thought I wasn't going to go to college, which is hilarious. But I remember asking my calculus teacher questions because I was trying to do some mathematics around inertia on this snowboarding trick that wasn't working for me. And my calculus teacher couldn't answer my questions. And so she sent me to the college, like physics TA period. And they were teaching. So I was so passionate about math in high school, but it's really to understand the world. And so I think data science is a theme. We're just trying to understand the world. Like, we're all humans. We're here. So I was very motivated in high school to try to understand the snowboarding world through the lens of mathematics and predictive modeling, which I'm sure is very normal. Tom's like, yeah, maybe normal for some of us. We're weird. But yeah, that was my journey. I didn't even know what data science was called until like everyone started talking about it. But I was very obsessed with predictive modeling, genetic algorithms, computers learning. Back in 2003, I was obsessed with genetic algorithms. I just thought that was the coolest thing I had ever seen. Just magic. So
here's Earthlings. Here's people that want to move to Mars. Here's Ben and I. We're just out there on that other end of the spectrum. I think it's compulsive, Ben.
Very nice. Kate, how has things changed for you since the time you started?
Yeah, so my journey, it didn't start when I was a baby, or while I was snowboarding or anything like that. It actually relates to a baby though. I was pregnant with my first child when I was working as a consultant in risk management, regulatory compliance, which included late night and travel. So in order to try to get out of that role, I wanted to take an internal role at the company where I worked. and they gave me a data analytics position that kept me working from home. And this was about 7 years ago, a little more than 7 years ago when that happened. And entering the field, I didn't know a single thing about data analytics, data science, but I was really excited to learn. And I think the way I actually got started is I took my own advice from earlier in the show where I said, talk to people. I've actually started interviewing people who had the label of data scientist in their title on LinkedIn. Even wrote a book called Journey to Data Scientist that really just was a compilation of all of the interviews that I put together, trying to get a sense for what does a data scientist do? How do you get started? What journey did you take? And I realized early on that almost every single person I spoke to had a very different background. We had musicians, we had technical folks, we had just waiters, right? Like from all sorts of backgrounds end up in this position that they call themselves a data scientist. And in terms of things that have changed in the past 7-8 years or so until now is I've seen a lot of consolidation in software vendors kind of buying each other out. I saw a bigger focus in terms of getting everyone else outside of the technical folks to becoming data literate. So a big data literacy push, making sure that the data that everyone is collecting, that we can A, make use of it, and B, that the people who are using it can actually understand it. But I'll stop there. I mean, I've seen a lot of different changes over the past 8 years, but I think those two are the ones that stood out the most.
Those are super interesting insights, Kate. Thanks for that. Okay, it's time for another surprise guest. Let's, I know he's also running on tight timeline, but let's have him. Kenji, welcome to the Ravit Show. We are celebrating the first year of the Ravit Show. Thanks for getting on. Have you just landed or something?
Yeah, so I got in yesterday. I finished my trip. I flew back from Chicago, so I'm dragging a little bit. But I wanted to come in, make sure I said congrats. Everyone is loving what you're doing, and I'm happy that I could even stop in and give this to you, somewhat in person live, to let you know how appreciative the community is about the work that you're putting in, and just sharing all these voices is really incredible.
Thanks a lot, Ken. And I did see some of your photos on Instagram. Did you also play golf there?
I did about 6 months ago, but not during the actual event. I left that to the professionals. But it was a pretty awesome experience. The U.S. team, which we work for, won by the largest margin ever, which is a pretty cool thing to say. I can't say I didn't hit any of the shots again, but hopefully the statistics that we ran helped with some of those incremental advantages to get a couple more points. So very, very great experience, and maybe one day I'll talk about it a bit more in depth on my second appearance on the Ravit Show.
Sure thing. Okay, we were just talking about the evolution of data science journey since the time each of us have got into it. Kate had some amazing points. Ben did start when he was a baby, but would love to hear Danny's thoughts here. Danny, how has data changed for you since the time you have started with this in this journey?
Definitely. I can't say that I started data science as early as Ben. I think when Ben was learning about genetic algorithms, I was trying not to wet the bed. So I think for my data science journey, I started working in data straight out of university. So my first role was as a data analyst, and I kind of I ran into a few issues where I just didn't really feel challenged in what I was working on. Maybe it was like the type of work that I was doing or the clients that we were working with, but I wanted to go for more, wanted to try and do some of the stuff that I learned about at uni, which was mostly around predictive modeling, because I did insurance and actuarial studies back there. So it was quite math heavy, but I wasn't doing any of that at my first role. So then I reached out to a few people, and I started reading blogs and looking on Google and trying to figure out what to do. And that was around the time when data science was just hitting peak data science. This was back in 2014 or so. So yeah, I did everything that new learners into data science are doing now as well. So learning Python, learning SQL, learning learning are trying to do everything at the same time and feeling overwhelmed and everything, until I actually managed to do that. Like I was waking up at like 5 a.m. and working till like 9 a.m., rocking up to the office late, telling my boss sorry, and then continued to do some more stuff not at the office, but like as soon as I got home. And then, I did that for 6 months. And then I started applying for data science roles, because there were not many data science roles back then. So it was very difficult to get in, especially if you don't have experience. So that's like the same thing that's happening right now. So that has not changed in the past 5 to 7 years or so. But I managed to move into data science by taking another analytics role and eventually working in a data science project, but not as a quote unquote data scientist. And eventually I started working with the real data scientist team, and then I became a real data scientist, whatever that is. So I think for a lot of people who are coming into the field and thinking that analytics is not important, my experience is more like focus on the analytics, because that will lead you to the opportunities to do more data science stuff. But these days there's like, I think the terms data science and machine learning and different things are used very broadly as well. So I think things have changed quite a lot in the past few years, but I think moving forward, there'll be more and more advanced techniques that are coming in, but the problems that we want to solve, they'll still remain more or less the same. Just maybe more difficult problems will be unlocked as the technology advances. So I'm pretty excited for what's ahead in the future.
I like the unlock reference. It makes me think it's a video game. So eventually we'll unlock consciousness, right? Like the future problems to be solved.
And Danny, I was thinking you are a chief meme officer. Are you a data scientist or a chief meme officer?
So I realized that on LinkedIn anyway, I found that memes are kind of like a LinkedIn hack, because I don't know, the way I think about it is to be different, you have to do things which people are not doing. Makes a lot of sense, right? Like it's quite obvious. But memes are, in a way, they're made to be shared. Like the whole point of, like, I think it's called a meme because it was going viral on the internet. So if you can create content which is shareable, that should help your social media stuff. That was the way I thought about it anyway. But when I first started making memes, it was more about just poking fun at things that I didn't really enjoy doing, or that I saw happen in the workplace. I'm like, that seems a bit funny. So I just started making memes about that, and it just kind of rolled on from there.
And I just need to add, Ravit, I think the correct title is Meme Lord.
Very true.
I'm open.
I think Danny has actually built that space around meme, and he has done those are definitely original memes which are coming out, but it kind of gives a good understanding as well, and you've just got the right hack, Danny. So fantastic. But moving on, Kenji, tell us, how has things evolved for you since the time you have started in data science? And I know how analytics is close to you. You are into sports analytics, so would love to hear your thoughts.
Yeah, my own personal journey, it all started with answering questions that I had about my performance. So I wanted to understand how I could improve my golf game, which led me to, basically run simple statistics on it, looking at standard deviations, trying to understand marginal improvements that I could make across the different areas of it. That inevitably led me to more advanced technologies and more advanced algorithms. And that is because the question that I was asking also evolved. So I started to look into predicting other people's performance rather than my own. I got really into daily fantasy sports and got interested sort of in the sports gambling markets. Those were fascinating to me. And eventually I found myself at this crossroads where the skills that I had didn't match up to the problems that I wanted to solve. And so I started trying to pursue different technologies, different understandings of math and algorithms. And those all led me towards the profession of data science. And once I actually understood what data science was, at least at a high level, I started looking for resources, right? I started looking for different ways to pick up more of those skills. And at the time, I really didn't see that many clear paths towards learning those skills or getting out there. So I just, I decided to go back to school, get a master's in computer science. And if I had the opportunity now to learn those skills in a different way, I absolutely would. There's plenty of great platforms like 365 Data Science, Udemy, all of these different places. But at the time when I was learning and starting, I didn't have awareness of them. They weren't readily available to me, at least in the places that I was looking on the internet. And that's one of the reasons I also started creating content, is because I was in a place where I was a little bit lost. I didn't know what path to take. I didn't know how to accumulate these skills or apply them. And I figured as I learned those, I could tell a story about the experiences that I had, what I did well, what I didn't do well, and hopefully other people could learn something from the experiences that I had in that domain. So I am really grateful for the community, for conversations like this, because now more than ever, that tide has flipped. There's more than enough resources out there for people to learn this domain, learn things that are even on the cutting edge. But the other benefit of that is you can learn from whoever you really resonate with. It's not about, there's only one place to learn the correct material. There's plenty of places to learn virtually the same thing, but you got to choose your instructor so that the messaging and the storytelling and everything about the domain that you want to learn is from a voice that you're comfortable with and that you enjoy. So that's why I love the idea that there's so many creators out here. There's so many people that are educating in this space. I personally think that's an incredibly positive thing.
Wow, a fantastic journey, Ken. Thanks for sharing that. Thom, what about you?
So I apologize. I'm enjoying these answers, but is it how we got started? Am I remembering the question correct?
Yeah. How has it actually evolved, to be honest?
I'm hoping Ben can relate to this. I don't actually know Ben's age. I just know we share gray, but it makes me laugh when people say, what made you decide to switch from mechanical engineering to data science? And internally, I'm feeling like this, because I've been doing predictive analytics since I was a freshman in college, and it was very data science related. The challenge is that the terminology is very different from engineers that do modeling work, even data science type modeling work and design of experiments and empirical modeling, compared to data scientists and the terminology they use. So I felt like I did move to a new country and learn to speak new language, like, inputs are features now and outputs are labels. Okay, I get that. But basically, when you're doing engineering and you're learning to do a lot of math and analysis, that's how I started. And I remember the fascination I had in freshman physics lab of doing hand calculations of least squares to fit a line through some noisy data. And I was in love at that point. And then learning to code the same as a sophomore or freshman. I had to start with Fortran, even on punch cards. But even then, I thought, this is so cool. And being able to predict the way a system was going to perform, using that hard stuff we learned called differential equations, and then seeing, you can actually use this stuff to predict the way a system's going to behave before you build it. This is so cool. And then just extending that to, someone's already done the experiments for me and handed me the data. Wow, that's cool. So that's how I got my start, just as an engineer, frankly.
Wow. A great one there, Thom. Those were amazing points. Thanks for sharing. I know Kate and Ken both need to move, but I will ask these questions to Ben, Thom, and Danny before we wrap up. But since you guys need to leave, Kate, what's next that is coming up for Dedicated? What can we see?
Yeah, first of all, Ravit, again, congratulations on your 1-year anniversary. Thank you for hosting this. I think it was a great session. What's coming up next for Dedicated is the Dedicated Expo. It takes place on October 5th. So if people want to sign up, go to dedicated.com/expo. It's free to attend and also live on LinkedIn, probably like you're watching this show right now. And I know, Ravit, you're one of our community partners, so thank you. I know we're going to do a giveaway at some point of a T-shirt, so you can look just like Ravit, or maybe Thom if you get the hoodie. But yes, thank you again, Ravit, for hosting, and great to chat with everybody here.
Amazing, Kate. Thank you very much. Ken, what's next for you?
I took a little bit about a month off of content from this past month to focus on work, and so I'm starting to make quite a few more videos coming up. I'm also doing a couple speeches at Datapalooza, which is at the University of Virginia, and ODSC in November, I believe. So really excited for those. Really excited to tune into Dedicated as well. My good friend Tina Huang, I think, is making her debut on the data speaking ring. So I'm very excited to see that. I'm sure I'll heckle her a little bit from the crowd. So very, very excited for all those. And again, congratulations to you. This is so cool to be able to share this with you. And I'm excited for next year, the 2-year, the 5-year, the 10-year anniversary of the Ravit Show.
Thanks a lot, Ken. It was such a pleasure. I know you've been all through the week traveling and working, but it was good to see you here. I will definitely arrange a 2.0 version for our chat, and we'll talk a lot around your YouTube channel and the plans coming up. But it was a pleasure to have you. Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you for having me again. Sorry I tuned in late.
Ravit, real quick, I just want to praise you on behalf of the community. You are our super glue. You make our community better all the time. I have a hard stop I need to go, but bye everyone. So honored to be here. Ben and Danny, thanks for being great friends. Congratulations, awesome. Ravit. You deserve it.
Thank you very much, Thom. It was a pleasure having you. See you around. Okay, one last question before we wrap up for Ben and Danny, and I'm sure this question will be very much interesting for the audience and for myself. But how do you see the future of data science and AI in next 3 to 5 years? I wouldn't say 10 or 5 or 10 years, but 3 to 5 years. Where do you see it going?
I'll let Ben.
Okay.
Ben goes first.
So I think if you look at the last 10 years, we would all celebrate all the massive innovation we've seen. And I think in the next 5 years, we'll accomplish more than the last 10. So I think, but the themes are doing more with less, moving faster. So something that would feel like a PhD project today, a junior data scientist or developer would do 5 years from now. And I think you're going to see big breakthroughs in automatic speech recognition and gesture controls, where I see AI very much moving into the home. So if you want to go do a house project, right now we would have to go do it. We'd have to go code it all up. It'd be a big weekend hack project. But I'd like to think 5 years from now, anyone listening who can code it all could do some shocking things around the home, the yard, the business. So I'm super excited. It's about unlocking human creativity, automating away the things that are processed that you don't like. Yeah, I'm excited.
Amazing. Danny, what do you say?
I think that definitely AI and all of the machine learning will be coming into the homes. I think that will be really, really cool in terms of like all the different potential opportunities that are there in areas that we've never really thought about before. So like in the home, you could be like, I don't know, you train your robot how to cook like a Michelin star chef, and then you somehow give it good ingredients and then it'll just do the thing for you. I would love to have something like that. But all these different things where it just weren't possible because the technology is not there. So we just haven't really unlocked those potential opportunities because we just don't know of what we can accomplish. I think Ben being in Data Robot and you guys being on the frontier of a lot of that is going to be really important for the rest of the community to kind of leverage that in scalable applications. But yeah, I'm very excited for what could be accomplished, especially in health, like not just in physical health, but I think mental health as well, like things around trying to pick up patterns about people's thinking and their actions and words on different areas and try and help there. I think that'll be really cool and very effective as well. But yeah, it will be very interesting. Really, really interesting.
Amazing. Danny, those are super interesting points. Okay, before I ask about your next projects, Ben, Danny, I quickly want to announce a second winner, and we are giving away the annual subscription of 365 Data Science. Let's do the draw, and the winner is right, Allison. Congratulations from YouTube. I'll reach out to you and you win an annual subscription of 365 Data Science. Thank you. Okay, moving on. Ben, I can't wait to hear this. I know about that project because I've had a panel discussion, but would love to hear what is your upcoming project or ongoing project on AI, and I'm sure the audience would love to hear about it too.
We have a bunch that are in the pipeline right now. We're actually going to have a huge launch in November where we're going to have all this thought leadership, all of these really fun pieces that'll be showcased. So without, there's a huge team working on this, so I don't want to jump the gun by giving away too much of their hard work. But yeah, mid-November we're going to have a huge launch that'll have a lot of these projects that are coming out. Yeah, I always have to be careful about sharing some projects because they involve partners. So it's not just Data Robot. There's other companies that are partnering with us on some of these. But yeah, November, look for big updates, very exciting projects that are coming out. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. No, we'll wait for November. Definitely looking forward to it. And Data Robot, obviously.
I'll tell you offline. I'll tell both you guys offline, but on this public forum.
Thanks, Ben. Danny, what's coming up for you next?
Okay, so this last month has been really crazy for me in terms of just presenting live at different things. Ravit hooked me up to present at ODSE. I did a 3-hour live Sql training for everyone, and then I created I created a free GitHub masterclass course in SQL. I don't know why I called it masterclass. I think it was just kind of catchy, and I don't know, maybe people will click on it. But everyone can kind of go on there and just look at a few of the questions. It's about a cryptocurrency case study. I created the data myself and uploaded in different places so you can use it wherever, but you can kind of learn some of the SQL basics through answering lots of questions. So that's one thing. And I've also got in the next month, I have a live SQL training again with O'Reilly and Pearson. I also published my first online course with O'Reilly as well. So it has its own ISBN. So I think that makes me an author. I don't know. I don't know if that's arbitrary, but I launched a SQL simplified course where it's using O'Reilly Catacoda interactive browser stuff that you can kind of just jump online and start coding stuff in directly in the browser. So you can learn SQL with me through there as well. And I'm doing a live training on the 4th or 5th of October. I'll check out the exact date. That's also with O'Reilly, but everyone can kind of sign up for a free trial with O'Reilly and Pearson and take advantage of it. So I'm running, I think that's a 4-hour live training. I'll be going through all of that SQL simplified course that I've created there. So I'll share a link directly in the comments and people can kind of access it and just kind of go nuts on that. And I've also got my serious SQL course with the Data with Danny stuff. So that's my own course that I'm hosting myself. It's currently on sale for one more day at the original launch price of $29 US. It's going to go up to $49 US on the 1st of October, and I'm not probably not going to do any specials ever. So yeah, and students at the moment, you can get it for $19. And I've heard some of my students currently, they were telling me that they kind of feel bad that they're getting the course at that price because there's just too much content in there for that much amount of money. So yeah, hopefully everyone can join me on there. We have a Discord community, and we're going to be doing some live training as well starting in November. So I'll be teaching my whole Serious SQL course through a series of weekends where you can just jump on live with me and we'll record the whole thing. And yeah, I think that's it. I've talked a lot. Sorry,
I like Danny's answer was actually useful. Mine was all dodgy, like Danny's was useful for the community. So kudos to Danny.
Yeah,
thanks,
and
man.
I just had a follow-up question for you, Danny. How many Dannys are actually doing these projects? Because it's so much work that goes in, right?
So I always talk to my friends about this, how when you're doing this type of work, like it's not really linear. So you kind of have days where you just do like, I don't know, maybe 2 weeks worth of work in 2 days in a really condensed amount of time because you just need to get it done. and then you kind of just break for a few days because you work too hard. So you have to recharge your batteries. But yeah, I kind of have phases of that where I just work really, really hard for a week, 2 weeks, and then I need to kind of decompress and just kind of relax and start planning for the next thing. Yeah, I don't know how many clones there are of me.
But definitely great work, Danny, that you're doing for the community, and I can see DWD.awards, and the community definitely loves you, Ben, Danny, because the work you guys are doing is fantastic. And yeah, this was it. I think a great celebration. Thanks for joining, Danny. Thanks for joining, Ben. I know it was on a very tight timeline that you guys had to join, and at the last moment I blocked Ben's calendar. I was very lucky enough to get that slot. So thanks, Ben. Thanks, Danny, for visiting the Ravit Show, and we will definitely have a 2.0 version for you guys this year as well, because I know for a fact that you both have visited the Ravit Show earlier. So we'll plan something soon.
Okay, congrats on the 1 year. Huge accomplishment.
Congratulations, Ravit.
Good to see you,
Thank
Danny.
you.
Get some sleep.
Yeah.
Yeah, Danny, thank you very much. Thank you. Bye bye. Thanks for everyone for joining. Bye bye.